Whatever kind of classroom you may find yourself walking into, empowering educators is the spark, the anchor, and the perspective you need. It is your quick hit of clarity and perspective, crafted for teachers who want to teach with purpose, build stronger relationships, and create classrooms where students thrive. Think of it as your daily dose of good practice in action. Practical, grounded, and designed to create spaces where students feel seen, safe, and ready to learn, while also allowing teachers to find their own authentic flow. All right, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to Empowering Educators. This is Ben Russell from Empowerment Ed. For today's episode, we're diving into a deceptively simple yet pretty powerful element of building your relational pedagogy skills as a teacher, specifically looking at praising students and how to do it in a way that builds genuine relationship capital rather than eroding it. Because praise is one of those tools that can either strengthen your connection with students or actually undermine it. We've all felt the impact of authentic praise in our lives. Think about a time when you were toiling away on a project of work, maybe something for your school, team, or faculty, and someone a little higher up in the food chain noticed. They acknowledged the work, they thanked you for the effort, and they told you what it meant for the team that you were doing this work. You get that warm, fuzzy feeling. You feel seen, valued, and you walk away thinking, I want to keep doing good work for that person. That moment only works, though, if you can tell or feel that that praise is authentic. Because we also know the feeling of fake praise, the hollow, surface-level stuff that lacks warmth and sincerity. You see right through it. And instead of actually building trust, it erodes or breaks it. Students have that same feeling with the teacher-student relationship. So let's start with not what to do. And let's look at a high school throwback from 2005 to give us the perfect example. Nothing screams more than fake praise than Regina George from Mean Girls. You may recall one scene, Regina smiles sweetly at a girl and says, I love your bracelet, and then immediately turns and mutters to a friend saying, that is the ugliest effing bracelet I've seen. It's the perfect example of praise that is so fake it becomes cruel. And while I highly doubt there are many in the profession that give that kind of fake praise, the principle still holds. Students can spot insincerity instantly. And when praise isn't genuine, it's potentially damaging to the teacher-student relationship. Fake praise can feel manipulative instead of actually motivating students, and it can signal that the teacher isn't paying attention or isn't being honest with them. Another way we might get this wrong is if we get the praise machine gun out and try and say nice things to everyone all the time about everything. Students see right through that. It just becomes noise, meaningless, instead of the well-intended strategy of building rapport. Another trap we can fall into is the sympathy praise. That is, a student gives a half-hearted attempt, gets it completely wrong, and yet we still say good effort. They know it wasn't. We know it wasn't. It was just a way to avoid an awkward moment when learning gets challenging. The reality is students really don't want our sympathy. Most of the time, they want our honesty. Sympathy praise does not do this. One final element that might be seen as the wrong type of praise is known as blanket praising. And this is when a teacher says something like, great work today, everyone, at the end of the lesson, where, again, let's be honest, half the class are off task, a few students carried the load for everyone, and some barely wrote a sentence. Blanket praise may feel safe for us, but it's actually counterproductive for the students we teach, because the students who have worked hard perhaps feel unseen. The students who didn't work know they're just being lumped in, and the teacher loses credibility. So if that's the recipe of perhaps not what to do, how do we get it right? To look at that, let's go back to that own experience where we recalled what praise felt like from a team leader, those moments when those praise meant something. Authentic praise normally follows 4 steps. A, you've noticed what they've done, not vaguely, specifically. An example of this would be, hey, I saw the way you kept working even when the question got tricky. Great persistence. B, you acknowledge the effort, regardless of the outcome. You really stuck with it. That shows persistence. C, you thank them for your effort, This is the relational piece, which gets that student-teacher relationship going. Thanks for giving it your best shot. It's going to put you in a really good position of understanding when the harder stuff comes up. And D, you challenge them to keep going. Praise isn't the end point. It's the launch pad to keep on going. Keep building on that. You are nailing this. And this formula can work across behavior, engagement, academic outcomes, social moments, or just simply a student having the courage to ask a question when they mightn't have done so before. The question we may ask ourselves then is, how do we deliver praise effectively? Most students prefer praise one-on-one. It feels safer, more genuine, and avoids that social spotlight. Public praise is fine, don't get me wrong, but it has to be on a safe topic. You don't praise publicly a sensitive student for finally speaking up, or your lazy Luke for actually trying today. That's mortifying. But you can publicly praise a well-structured sample paragraph, a thoughtful question, class-wide improvement on a challenge you set, or a shared achievement. Or other effective moments perhaps include during circulation, quiet word while students are working. At the threshold point as students are entering, loved your work last lesson, keep it up today. Or at the end of a task, acknowledging persistence or growth. After a challenge has been completed, speaking to perseverance and how that matters. Or during feedback, either written or verbal, tied to specific behaviours, outcomes, or objectives. This is most powerful when it's timely, specific, and private enough to feel safe. Praise is really important when it comes to building relational capital. When done well, it does three things. Firstly, it builds trust. Students know you mean what you say. They know you don't hand out praise cheaply. Number two, it continues to build belonging. When praised, students feel seen, not just for their achievement, but for their effort, growth, or character. And thirdly, it builds motivation. Students want to keep engaging, keep trying, keep improving. Not to impress you, or in some cases that may work, but because they feel supported by you. Authentic praise is relational pedagogy in action. It really isn't about the flattery. It's about how we continue to build connection with the students we have the pleasure of teaching. Praise is one of those most simple tools we have, but we need to use it well. And when it is used well, it becomes one of the most powerful binding tools that build relational capital. It strengthens our classroom culture, encourages effort, resilience, and engagement. The catalyst is it only works when it feels real. Students don't need us to be their cheerleaders. What they need us to be is honest, attentive, and specific. They're looking for praise that recognizes who they are, and perhaps most importantly, who they're becoming. And that's that potential gap we have the beauty of working towards. That's all for today's episode of Empowering Educators. If you're keen to dive deeper into more of what we do for both teachers and students at Empowerment Ed, or explore our face-to-face professional learning opportunities, head to www.empowerment-ed.com.au to see what we're building for educators like you. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, take care.